My name is Goran Rajcic, and I am the creative director of Pet Project Games, working on a Ripout game that is a three-player co-op horror shooter.
There is a lot of stuff going on in this game. Like I saw it like in the on the Steam page. I saw the screenshots, but I don't even know that those fully do it justice as to like everything you've got going on. You've got like roguelike elements. You've got the pet gun, which is in of itself just like a very interesting idea. And I want to know, like, where did you all even begin with like the conception of this game?
Yeah, okay. Well, there is a love for 80 horror sci-fi in the team, like the early 80s, like The Thing, The Fly, even Cronenberg's later works like Existence. So sci-fi, organic, even alien stuff like that. So it was first the inspiration came from the movies mostly, rather than games. And we all like shooters. We like co-op, and so when we blend those two together, ideas just started like coming naturally. The dominant idea was that we wanted to jump into a mission and not know what awaits us, which is like what we found was while playing most of the games in the genre is going in a map that we already know by heart, or that we exactly know what the experience is going to be, and we find that they takes away from horror. So and like uncertainty and the fear of the unknown. And we wanted to try to make a system that is like every time you enter, even for us after like a couple of years of development, we every time we enter, we don't exactly know where the monsters are coming from, what the next area is going to be like, how much ammo we're going to get. So it's different every time. And on top of that, like when looking at weapons in shooters, and thinking about again the organic technology was like, okay, if it's organic, let's just not make it a skin. Like let's not just call it organic. Let's give it some actual agency. And so the pet gun came into action. Like it has a mind of its own. If you want it to, it can help you. And that is the starting point. We also then thought, okay, well, let's just not have it attack, let's have it do other stuff. So when you play the full version, you'll get more stuff to do with your gun, and it becomes even more like autonomic. It becomes more versatile as you progress through the game. Also, obviously, we like the new. It's very retro, everything that you're doing visually, and the shooter like feel is retro. It's more old school, but the new school, of course, comes from the roguelites and all those like exchangeable random elements, like you getting buffs and getting those creatures that you can pick up. And it's so you can have some things that are permanent. Like I said, you build your gun, you build your suit, but the creatures and the buffs give you a random element to your strategy as well, not just the levels. So it's the organic thing. The organic technology kind of works both in the monster's favor and your favor, and creates like surprises from both sides.
And it's worth noting, like we talked about a little bit in our gameplay of the demo, but like there are some shared resources here. Like you have not only ammo and health pickups that are limited between players, but also you have like these attachable creatures that your pet can grab for you and give you new
Yeah.
abilities. And how did you balance the idea of like the shared resources between players?
Well, it's a back and forth process. So it's not only between players, like you said, it's between monsters and players as well. So you're fighting for the creators as well. So we want the players to have. We don't want them to share everything, because we really want them to cooperate. We don't just want them to run and gun and pick up everything. And if you're like greedy and just picking up everything, there won't be enough for your partner, and that will make them like die quicker, which you don't want, because the difficulty doesn't go down if if somebody dies, you still have to fight through until you reach the resurrection station and revive them. So it's important to look out for each other. So it's, if you want to be successful, definitely you want them to have ammo and health as well. So and of course, if you want to be successful and not alerting the enemies, trying to like get the critters before they do, you also have to cooperate with players. But the game works just as well in single player. It adapts to single player. The amount of ammo and the amount of critters running around and monsters will adapt if you play it in single player or with 2 players or with 3 players. It will definitely scale up or down. But if you choose to play like a co-op game, you have entered the ship of that difficulty and that length.
And that, one of the things you mentioned there, that sort of tug of war of these smaller creatures between you and the monsters, like, how difficult was it to balance the idea of like these creatures that can be utilized by both you and the enemies? Like, was there any challenge in like making something like not too powerful for the player or not too powerful for the monster or anywhere in between?
Yes, both of those things were very difficult because at one point, like, some monsters can attach 3 of these creatures to themselves and become overwhelming. So it was not just about making it those creatures, making them less or more powerful. It was like how many of those are around them, how many of them are there to go around, and how they combine together. Like you can have a monster with a shield and a claw, and then it becomes much harder than just having 2 shields, perhaps, where it gets like spongy and you can shoot it a lot, but it doesn't have other alternatives. But if it combines, like also if it has a claw and a long range weapon, it can throw back the pet back at you and shoot you from the distance, and then come and hit you with a claw. So it was very challenging to it was really a balancing issue, like trying to get these powers to be both significant. Like you want to go, oh no, he's got the claw, or oh no, he's got the shield, but we want the players then to have a counter to everything that they can do. So it's rather like a thinking game and reacting to their combinations, rather than, okay, they're just too powerful, we are going to die. So if you think and find a solution inside the area quickly, you will be able to overcome most situations. Although there is some random bad luck, of course, and you can die, but overall it came down to trying to see all the situations that can happen, and trying always to give the player a chance to counter them. So the basic answer is they're still powerful, and they can be powerful for both the player and the enemy. It depends on the situation that you're in on the moment, on the random moment. But we so far we think it holds a good balance.
We saw in the demo there's the assault rifle version of the pet gun, the shotgun, the long gun, and then of course the temporary perks that you can get as you go through a level. And that seems to offer players an opportunity to sort of make a build and secure like a role in their squad on the fly. Where like maybe if you're using the shotgun, you want to grab like tanky perks and more health. Whereas if you are using a long gun, maybe you want to focus on the pet some more and get like pet buffs. And I want to know, like, how did y'all approach this with the idea of like maybe builds that you would want to explore, or like roles that you would like players to be able to sort of discover as they played?
Yeah, I think you got it right. It's like adapt to take a role when you see the situation. Like you can have like a soft role, like getting a armor of some type and like shotgun at the beginning. But then as you play through the level, you will want to shoot it faster and get the faster upgrades for faster shooting, or just focus on the pet and try to be quiet. So yeah, it was this idea at the beginning, like not have players settle into one role that they choose and like, okay, I'm a tank, or I'm DPS, or I'm a support healer. No, you can be anything you want at any time. Even mix it up. If you want a specific role, you can always play it, but the game is always going to try to throw challenges at you that make you consider a different strategy and constantly improvise. So this is again a part of, we want the players to have a different experience when they enter Derelict and not get bored with a role and just get I mean, they can get good to a certain point, but the randomness of the game will hopefully always push them to rethink.
And I noticed as we were going through the game, not only was there a crafting station on like the hub, but also components that you discover as you're going through the level. And I'm curious can you go into detail as to like what we'll be able to do with those components and crafting in the game?
Well, yeah. Basically, you will get entering the ships. You will get schematics for different things. Like you can get a schematic for addition to the gun that will, for instance, give you your pet ability to hack machines or monsters. So in order to make this upgrade, you will have to construct it out of components that you find throughout the ship. And there will be different, like organic components, mechanical components, chemical components, and each of these, based on the rarity and strength of these upgrades, it will take more resources and more different resources to construct. So there will be this looter element to it. Like you will want to grind some. You will want to go into a room and inspect every corner of it if you want to reach a specific. Create a specific schematic or even find a specific schematic. Also, it goes the same for the some special suit parts like helmets or backpacks or boots. They will all be available to craft as well.
Have you yourself, like, is there any sort of like luck being on your side, things turning out the way you want? Is there any sort of build that you yourself have enjoyed more than others so far?
Well, there is like, it's not there's part of it in the demo, like but one part is not. But I'm gonna say what it is. Like the pet can leave explosives on the monsters. That's something that's not in the demo. And I love taking it with the jumping pet combination. And once you combine those two, like he goes around jumping and leaving explosives around and creating explosions and instantly killing like a lot of enemies. And that's a rare combination to get. But personally, that was my favorite as far as the pet. And having like pet upgrading pet damage and like having the long gun, the sniper gun, and just letting him go further and shooting them from afar is also one of my strategies. But really, it's always fun to experiment. I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm sticking to a certain strategy at any point.
It sounds like players have something to look forward to in future builds. One of the things that I found really interesting was when we were going through the ship, there was these sections of electricity that blocked off areas. And one thing you brought up was that not only will that kill you if you go across it, but it will also kill monsters. But you can also find those power boxes and shut them down. I really like that idea of like a hazard that can be used both ways. Like you could cut off an avenue of monsters attacking you from a certain angle.
Yeah.
Have y'all gone? Can we expect more out of hazards like that and environmental?
Yes, we definitely will have more hazards. Like this is just one in the demo, but we'll have like fire hazards and steam hazards and maybe even some toxic hazards that we're working on that system right now. So we definitely want to have more of those and work on electricity more and see how the enemies, how smart they're gonna be. Like right now they try to avoid electricity more than we'd like them to. Like before they were stupid and rushing in. We added some thought into their brain and they start being smart. So we're balancing between that and how often they're going to be able to be lured into it and how much like agency you're going to have over these hazards as well. So yeah, definitely something that is going to be more prominent later in the game.
Right from the hub, you can see like players will have an option of like what kind of missions they want to take on. Like we saw The one we did was a 5-room ship, but there was also an 8-room ship with like a yellow sort of intensity on it. Are there going to be some like? Have you guys like cranked it to the max? Like, how far have you gone with the intensity of what these levels offer?
Well, yeah, it's gonna be the more you play, like through the campaign, through the end of the story campaign, and through the sectors that you pass, it's gonna throw more difficult and bigger ships at you. You will always have a choice to take smaller ships around, but you will have an option to go on the bigger, longer ones, like a really long. 35 or 40-minute mission that maybe even timed. Like there are going to be timed missions as well, like where you have to reach the bridge before it goes into a black hole or stuff like that, and there will be like a lot more monsters, and you'll have to be prepared, and we'll probably mark it as a difficult one where you'll have to maybe even take upgrades that have more ammo capacity and more health and stuff like that, so you can prepare for those things. So yeah, we found that 9 at this point, that 9 the size of 9 was optimal to keep it till 35-40 minutes. We thought it was a drag. After that, we tried like before with 15, 16 and we never got through them alive, even if we knew exactly every part of the game. So it gets a bit too tough and too long. So 9 was like the perfect balance for the top, and 4 or 5 is like the bottom as far as the length. But that may change depending on balance and, of course, feedback we get from the demo. That is one of our goals, to really get it in the hands of the players, at least these basic features of the game, and see how well they respond and what they feel is missing, other than the things that we already know that we already have in the full game.
And you mentioned the solo and the multiplayer campaign. Has the team talked at all about like a game like this? I think to myself, like you mentioned, 16 rooms gets really, really hard. But have y'all talked at all about like maybe a survival or endless mode in this game?
We definitely, what we want to see after the game is published, we will definitely work on different modes of the game and add more types of ships, more types of missions, more types of monsters, and more like events that are gonna probably go. We're even thinking about maybe 2 crews joining, two opposing crews joining a big derelict and trying to fight through it. But that's like all once we get the core game really polished, and we're happy with it, and it's built in that way that we can expand upon it. So that is the idea, to expand upon this world where you're going through these ships and discovering things about this world and this war and this cell. And it's kind of like organic, and it's logical for us to add all these things on it. It's not going to be like, okay, what do we do next, and is there a room for expansion? There is. We've got like tons of ideas already waiting.
That seems so fun too. Like the idea, it seems like the possibilities are quite open for like what you could do with that. Like off the top of my head, I imagine like if you did do a 2-squad setup, maybe like a race to get back to the shuttle.
Yeah.
Or even
Something like that. Yeah.
Being able to activate modifiers that sabotage the other team.
You're right. I mean, it could be a lot of fun. I mean, that's something that I would love to take it to that step after that. Put humans, or even infected humans. Like I said, the Thing was one of the inspirations. So we toyed a lot around the cell infected the party members at some point, and having some sort of sickness. So it could be also a direction that we take it later on. But like I said, we're balancing with a lot of features right now, and that there's a lot of these creatures and monsters and combinations already. So we want to like have it hold a firm ground before we go even crazier with it.
Awesome. And where can people find out more about Ripout?
Well, they can join the Discord channel. We always post new videos and new screenshots and information about the game. And they can, of course, wish it on Steam. And it's coming in June. The demo is coming out 13th of June. So I hope they check it out.